Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here. This is the end, soon to be end. This is the final season of The Boys, and this is going to be our review for episode 1 and 2 of their season 5 premiere on Prime Video. Guys, we are back in the full Boys fashion, and guys, it feels good to be back. But again, part of the journey is the end, and we are going full steam ahead. And this episode, nobody's safe. Nobody's safe though. I just want to start off with this: RIP A-Train to a real one. Now, I actually met A-Train, Kimiko, Frenchie, a few of these people, Sister Sage, and Black Noir in person at Comic-Con 2 years ago. Yeah, they're good folks and everything, but A-Train, much as he's a terrible person, in terms of this whole conflict of this whole show started with him, and it's only symbolic how he went out of preventing someone else to die accidentally from not running into them, only for that to cause his demise. That is great writing of a character's end. It's how it's actually beautiful. It's just like, wow. While watching this, and I was just like, wait, oh, are they gonna do this again? Like, no, he's not. It's like, oh, that's what screwed him over. Yeah. Because I don't think if the lady that crossed the street wasn't there, we think that Homelander would have caught him. Still,
yes,
maybe, or that's a hard one to question. It's like a big what if. It's like, would he have actually gotten away, or would Homelander kept chasing? Because I'm pretty sure A-Train might be a bit faster than Homelander, but you never know. Hell, if he had more time, maybe someone else could have showed up at the end to like help him out, but we'll never know.
I mean, it's like that old comparison between Flash and Superman. Flash can run faster than Superman can run, but Superman can fly faster than the Flash can run.
Yes, correct. But the way we end off with that episode, him breaking his neck, again, it sets the stage. Nobody is safe, and the stakes are high, more than it ever has been before. But when we start off with this episode again with Homelander now in his ascension, now getting revealed what was actually threatened to him in season 2 of Flight 47, I believe, right?
The flight where in season 1 they decided not to save people.
Yes, and that's been now revealed to the public. And for one quick second, you think that Homelander is actually going to kill everybody in that dang on church, right? But what ended up happening is what, surprisingly, again, the boys' fashion, they use it to their advantage and call it the video AI. Ridiculous. And the age that we're in. Yes. I will start with you, Phil. Phil, now we're returning back with these characters in the final chapter of this story. Now we're seeing Homelander being unhinged more than he ever has been before, but now more things are getting revealed to the public, and yet Vought is having a way of using it to their advantage. What was your thoughts in terms of how we are brought back with these characters?
I think it might be a little closer to home than Daredevil Born Again, because imagine if the United States, the president of the United States, had superpowers and was still the same evil sack of shit. I mean, it's eerily funny how they wrote this over a year ago, and yet everything that's transpired, not only in this episode but also the next one, is just so like, are we having the Simpsons writers do double duty on Daredevil and the boys? Because man, some of the shit that has happened, I'm just like, wow. But as far as Homelander's concerned, just starting to like crack, right? The cracks have been there, right? But it's just been like a subtle little break in it, and chink in the armor for every season going up until now. But now that he's finally ascended to effectively dictator of the United States, you see the full blown like, I'm gonna lose my shit. It's almost like how, look at Hitler at the height of his power. He didn't trust anybody. He was delusional. He was paranoid all the fucking time until everything came crashing down on the Nazi party. And I think something similar is going to happen by the end of the final season here. We're going to see, it's going to be a 1-by-1 kind of domino effect for sure. Like we're going to see some of these people get picked off 1-by-1. I don't know, because we've only just seen first couple episodes, but it's going to be very interesting to see how Homelander reacts to everything that the crew has worked so hard to obtain, right? Like it's going to be interesting to see like the tit for tat of it all, because this is the final season. This is the end of it. Yeah, there's a Bot Rising show, but that's a whole different conversation. Gen V is obviously still going. Again, whole different conversation. But as far as The Boys is concerned, like this is the end all be all. We know, we have a pretty vague idea of how it's going to end, but it's about the journey, right? As Tony Stark famously said. So I think it's just very interesting that like where we live in a time where such real world atrocities and events influence our media. And again, I've said it time and time again, art imitating life and life imitating art. Yeah. And as you put, really well written, and obviously, pour one out for our guy A-Train, because he was the MVP of the episode.
Yeah, J. King, and to that point about stuff going on in the real world, we're seeing that this is now an increasing lens of a fascist society that's becoming of The Boys. And again, it's ironic of what's going on in this world, and in terms of the censorship and again the propaganda media, and now people, in this case in Homelander, being locked up on quote unquote freedom camps. And again, the term even there, it sounds ridiculous, but what was your thoughts in terms of finding where Huey, Frenchie, and Mother's Milk are now, and kind of now we're one, they're accepting where they are. Two, one person is actually making passes while they're there of trying to survive at that camp. Another person is now evolved into becoming a more hardened character than they were, as a softer person in previous seasons. But yeah, what was your thoughts in just terms of seeing where we are with the within this freedom camp?
I'm not necessarily surprised, because it's like, as we've learned, they've been locked up in there for like over a year now, like since the end of last season and during the events of the last season of Gen V. Like we know they've been locked up there for a while. Huey, not surprised that he is the type of person that isn't going to give up and is still trying to make a plan on how they can retaliate. Frenchie's going to do what Frenchie can do until, whatever the hell happens. But Mother's Milk, as he said, like, he's just hoping that he can no longer put any more of his BS on his wife and his daughter and everything that he's been trying to protect. So it's like, I'm not surprised at where these characters are currently, or where they were before, they got broken out of the freedom camp. That type of lockup can change anybody, or it can reveal the type of person that you really are on the inside. So, there's not much to say about that, in that instance. I'd much rather actually like to talk about the guys who are not locked up, our boys that are scattered amongst the wind until Butcher gets them back, because there's a lot to say about where they're at currently.
Yeah, because what I wanted to shift that to Kimiko and Starlight, because now that these people are out, now free, we see Kimiko at the events of season 4. Now she can speak. But also we see Annie, where she's basically now again becoming as someone who was, well, I guess you want quote unquote be naive as trying to be the kind of stereotypical superhero, but now she's lost hope and lost faith, but she's still keep on a fight, but she's now on the fight by any means necessary, and she's becoming more hardened and more difficult in terms of being more closed off than she was before. Yeah, Phil, what was your thoughts in terms of this episode, especially with Annie when they're going in to break, the boys out of the freedom camp? You saw Annie was just acting a little bit weird and off. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, she's vaping. There's that. I'm not 100% sure if it's nicotine or cannabis, but I can tell you, as a prior cannabis user, the way that she's acting, very in line with the cannabis use, especially heavy cannabis use. If you are a heavy cannabis user, you are more prone to a much more relaxed demeanor, but your thinking is going to be a little more emotionally and anxiously invested. And it seems like the only way Annie could cope without having Huey there or everyone else there, substance abuse. And that's not to say that anyone who uses cannabis is abusing the substance. That's not what I'm getting at here. But what I'm saying is like, you know, when you use it that much to that degree, I can tell you from experience that you are way more emotional and anxious, and at the same time it's supposed to relax you, but obviously since she's got, you know, compound B. Thank you. Yes. So obviously I don't know if there's going to be something different there, but my point is like she's in a very, you know, she wants to do the right thing, but she also understands that like this is no longer just like a you know, traditional freedom fight of good versus evil. Now you are in a full-blown, again, superpowered dictatorship, and you have to really be careful about what you do. And so the only way to really cope in such a difficult time, again, is using a substance. And I think that, you know, when she's finally reunited with Huey, look at the way she acts. Look at how nonchalant and so like, oh, I'm just glad you're here, la la la, you know. But going into that camp, going into like, you know, finding Butcher and Kimiko, and just like the way that she's acting, right? It's a mixture of I need to do this, but I'm terrified of what's going to happen because I really don't know if we can actually get out of this alive. And when you're under the influence of something like that, it's heightened. It is absolutely heightened. I can tell you again from experience that, you know, it is such a, it will cloud your judgment in sometimes the worst ways possible. I can speak from experience with that.
Yeah, and with that, as we're seeing more of the dynamic of the boys in episode 2, just seeing where they are mentally and emotionally become the opposite. And you're seeing Frenchie and Kimiko now just happy to be with each other and just, you know, going on, you know. But then yet, you know, it's not that she's not closed off or not having feelings for Huey, which again that might what alludes to from just watching the first episode. But no, for her it's more she's kind of you can see closed off where she's become, and knowing that how Huey is so hopeful to the point where she's like, listen, I already know what you're gonna do. You're gonna try to, you know, find the bright side of the situation here, but for me, I'm just ready just to do what we can so we can be done with this. And if it means that if I have to get out, you know, take myself out of the equation, whatever, for the sake of using this virus to wipe out all soup, so be it. And then Huey's like, no, we cannot have that. We can do what we can to help you and Kimiko and everything, but at the same time, Butcher don't give a damn. He's like, we're gonna do what we can do. Even have to drag their carcasses to the end of the finish line, as he says. We're still not finishing. We're still gonna do what we gotta do. And as we've seen the funeral for A-Train, and JK, I want your thoughts on this because this was something very powerful. Out of all the members of the 7, Homelander had a unique relationship with A-Train. As much as it was, again, abusive and stuff, but from season 1, that was like, he needs something done, he called A-Train, and A-Train will do it. Even when it came to, he mentioned about Pop Clock and everything. It's like it started with him, and now that A-Train is gone, who else he got at this point? But yeah, what's your thoughts on that? And also, even the new preacher character, O-Father, who basically like a Christian pastor, Black Canary, literally, at this point. But he's now literally becoming a martyr at this point. But yeah, what was your thoughts in terms of how Homelander was responding to the death of A-Train?
First, I'll say, in terms of O-Father, I don't think there could have been a better actor to get for that character than you know who they got. Like, y'all will recognize who that actor is, very much so. And I'm just like, yeah, no, that was perfect. That was perfect. I'm still trying to figure out what that whole coming to Jesus light moment that Homelander had for a second during that funeral was. I guess we'll find out later. But talking about the whole A-Train and Homelander dynamic, yeah, no, I think this is probably now the moment that we're starting to see Homelander just crack under pressure even more. Like that was the stuff, because like even though he killed A-Train by his own hands, it's like, yeah, A-Train was always his guy to get done what needed to get done from season 1 all the way until A-Train fully defected in season 4. So, it's like it's like the foundations of what Homelander thought he always had, no matter what Butcher and the others threw at him, just even though he's the one that took A-Train out, feels like the crumbling of that. And so it's like when that happens, or what he thinks happens to Soldier Boy, who we'll talk about in a minute, happens, you just see him more and more starting to break, that there's less of the dictator and more of the little kid that Homelander really is, that's starting to pop out there. So it's crazy, because like you think back to it, it's like, yeah, A-Train, he not only started this whole thing by running into Huey's original girlfriend, he started this whole thing by basically being Homelander's right hand. And now that right hand is gone, the foundations of the house that built the 7 are starting to crumble down and down and down, and it's just only a matter of time for more people to push some bricks and push some foundations before it all comes tumbling. Now, will that be enough to take them down? I'm not sure. This is about to become a, I got nothing else left to lose thing. I'm not sure. We shall see. But it is interesting to see that it took where it all started for Homelander to start ending.
Yeah, and one thing that my biggest criticism of season 4, well, it felt like some of the plot kind of dragged on, where it's like, all right, some things here, it's like, all right, this should be picked up, like it should be wrapped up. Why do we keep continuing dragging this storyline down, right? But here, I feel like, again, this season, at least these first 2 episodes, that definitely established, again, the tone and the pacing of how we're actually going to be resolving plot lines and also certain characters. And we get into more and about the virus of disease, or virus is going to be destroying anybody who has compound V in their system and everything. And now the boys are discussing how they're going to test it. Well, we're going to use somebody, Soup to actually test it. And so we're going to be using a character called Rockhard, who is a rip-off version of the Thing in a most insane fashion of him being consumed by his own what do you want to call it?
To put it lightly, folks, again, if y'all are watching this, you've seen the episode, but he's his volcano has erupted and created a landslide that is just unobtainably it's hard to move. So
it's like one of those. It's like one of those nerds who just lives in a perpetual state of rag, and like, it's depressing, but also it's like it's like they took elements of The Thing and Stephen Hawking and rolled it into one, and I'm just like,
I got you, fuckers.
Eric Kripke is just a madman and a genius all at the same time. I've got you, fuckers.
Yes, my dick weighs more, bitch.
Oh my god. And hell, we haven't even brought up the fact that he's in a house of like teenage or like young adult heroes, 2 of them just TikTok influencers, one of them who's a celebrity cameo being a Raven caller.
Yes,
yeah,
he's a ripoff of Teen Titans and everything. But and also if you catch some of the influencers, this episode perfectly highlights, whether people want to be mad about it or not, a harsh reality of what TikTokers go through and the pressure that is for their mental illness. For some of them, or just seeking attention, their crave for attention and everything, and also how much corporations are paying them to spew their propaganda and pursue their following for their own personal gain. And yeah, it was. I thought it was very interesting. You had a heart-to-heart conversation for Mother's Milk and that Raven chick, and it was very real. And it's a lot of conversations I want to have with some of these TikTokers, man. But it's because in reality, some of these people just can't, beat this addiction of trying to seek attention and seek the trends and all this stuff like that. But yet at the same time, the corporations are funding the lifestyles. $5,000, $20, dollars a post or whatever. Like, that's real for some people. Again, it's crazy, but I like that. Again, they at least to have that not all the influencers are just freaking idiots. You know what I mean? We found the idea that they're gonna go try to trap Rock Hard, but at the same time, Homelander realizing that he needs to go get Butcher and to find the boy, so he has Soldier Boy in the crowd chamber, and he decides to open him up, and he wakes up and trying to convince him to seek revenge against Huey, but yet he does not know about the virus, and he had to learn it the hard way. But as we're seeing here, this virus is very fragile, and Huey has to take this over, trying to make sure we're able to test this and stuff. And lo and behold, they get chased by Soldier Boy and these TikTok influencer soups, as they're seeing people getting dragged out of their homes and all this stuff, and for fashion, again, increasing the fashion society, and also redoing the toxic nature again of really the propaganda overstepping people's livelihoods and stuff like that, right? I just want to start with you, J King, your thoughts on Soldier Boy return, and also the fact of how I guess Homelander is not telling him fully the truth about said virus that could destroy Compound V in your system.
Okay, well, first off, Soldier Boy, you have definitely been missed, because Jesus Christ, you come back and it's like no time has passed since season 3 with you and your wise way of talking. But no, it is, again, everyone is really saying like, oh, you brought out Soldier Boy because you didn't want to be the one to go near that virus. You're making a strategic plan. It's like, no, now that A-Train's gone, he's trying to find some moral compass, and it's like, oh, maybe this time I can actually get my father to, not treat me the way he did last time, and actually get him on my side. Oh, you'll be number 2 with me on the 7. And it ended up blowing up in his face, or at least he thought it did. Again, that ending of that second episode. But yeah, no, Soldier Boy has definitely, there's a presence to what this actor brings to Soldier Boy that's just like, yeah, no. He came back and it was like, man, I hate you, but it is nice to have you back. It's that type of energy when it comes to that. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see how he goes, because it's like last season we practically had him on our, well, now the last time we had him in the show, we practically had him on our side in a sense, but now it's like, no, now he's fully with Homelander again, unless Homelander double crosses him, which who the hell knows what Homelander's going to do at this point anymore, to be honest. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting just to see where they decide to take this. I mean, hell, we still haven't even seen Ryan yet. So it's like, what's going to happen when Ryan runs into Soldier Boy again, knowing that Soldier Boy very much is like, hey, I don't care if you're my grandson, you need to die. So it's like, he still had beef with Huey the moment he woke up. So it's like, is the beef with Ryan still going to be there? Like,
yeah, we don't know. But as we see, Soldier Boy is somewhat semi-convinced and try to go chase down Butcher and them. Now we're basically on this wild goose chase to go, and basically it's a trap where the other team of the boys has Rock Hard, in the house and everything, and as Soldier Boy's approaching, and as they get in there, as now we have a fully, souped up Butcher at this point with his tentacle tumors, and as he's getting locked into the house, they drop the virus in there, and now starts affecting everyone, affecting Rock Hard, the other teen influencer soup, and also now Soldier Boy getting pimples and all that stuff, people getting heads falling off, and then Soldier Boy he's got a little bit of acne on him, and he just passed out. He probably needs some Proactive or something. They find out that, okay, this virus is contagious, and it works. But then as we get to the end of the episode, and I wanted your thoughts on this, Phil, is that we find out that Homelander arrives at the house, and before that, we find out that Mother's Milk actually let Raven Girl go, which kind of, see a little piece of his humanity coming back. But we see Homelander arrive, seeing now his dad, in a body bag. and the deep is be like, I was trying to go get him, I found him, whatever. It's like, no, get out of here or before I kill you. And lo and behold, he's having existential crisis internally about people that's basically leaving him or dying around him that he cares about, and he walks away. But then we see that body bag rises up on the third day. Just playing. Easter just came out. Happy Easter to you. But we see that Soldier Boy's alive, and then we end. Now, might possibly be, Phil, I want to know your thoughts, that maybe the Compound V in Soldier Boy is different than the Compound V in everybody else?
That is absolutely possible. I think that you hit the nail on the head right there. I think the Compound V that was used on Soldier Boy is not the same Compound V that was used on Homelander. I think they're completely different. Other than that, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Butcher and company definitely reconcile from this, because they all think that, all gravy, all good, etc., etc. Definitely not the case now, because this kind of changes the game a little bit.
It changes the game indeed, y'all. And I will just say this, is we set the tone and pace of this 2-episode premiere of season 5. The stakes are high, people are being off quickly, and I think also more of the lore of the boys is being explored, even after we get more information about Soldier Boy. And also, again, how unfortunately the reality of this show is mimicking what's going on in the real world, the rise of Christian nationalism, the propaganda of it all. I think we're going to get a lot more of that in a very uncomfortable but raw way, in a way where it's just almost a self-reflection and a mirror to ourselves in our country. But at the same time, again, I think it's going to be a really intriguing thing just to see how Homelander is going to see himself, and as he's already been twisted, see himself as his new leader or savior, you might say, in a way. And I think allowing this new wave of Christian nationalism to be a part of that, but also where does Soldier Boy fits in this? Because again, Soldier Boy does not want to be number 2, right? And also at the same time, it's like, again, what their dynamic as father and son, to a point where, what is Soldier Boy's motivations and what's his end game as well. He's been, in the cryo chamber for far too long, so many times. So again, is more freedom from him, or he might be attached from Homelander in the future? Only time will tell, though. But I would say this again: we are back. Boys season 5 is here, and again, after this week of this 2-episode premiere, we will have a 1-week release of each episode as we head towards its finale. A total of 8 episodes when the season is said and done. But guys, I really enjoyed discussing this with you, and I cannot wait for us to discuss more for episode 3 of The Boys, which will be on Prime Video on Wednesdays, I believe. Wednesdays, yes. Yes. So make sure you subscribe button, comment, like, and share. Let us know your thoughts on the first 2 episodes of The Boys season 5, and make sure you go subscribe to Phil on Unfiltered on his channel. His links and everything will be in the description box below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.